Hey there, welcome back to another week of Counter-Strike game and skin market update. This is Skinomics2, and this video covers the 18th to 24th of August 2025. Starting with the usual armory pass, the new M4 Solitude managed to top the list at 155% return on unboxing. It is early days, so expect this number to drop. The other collections remain broadly stable, and the cases are still risk-free return for those that play the game. Speaking of the M4 Solitude, as with the previous two limited edition items, the factory new condition of the skin is priced significantly higher than all other conditions. For instance, the difference is 15 times for the heat treated compared to minimal wear. We move on to the Austin Major sticker capsules, which have been slowly reflecting the sales pricing of 25 cents. Only the contender team capsule still has a return above 100%, and this is expected to drop rapidly as more capsules are unboxed over the few coming weeks. Interestingly, with the souvenir packages from the Austin Major, the Anubis collection rose this week to be the most profitable to unbox. There also remains 5 total packages, which remain profitable to unbox, although unboxing volume is low right now, as the hype surrounding these have quieted. Now onto the first real headline of the week, and that is the continuation of concentrated capital being injected into a selection of items. The most egregious of these is the Stockholm EG sticker, whose price has 5,400x'd in the last 60 days, which is clearly unsustainable. Other items which have started to be pumped this week include a selection of M4A4 skins. Viewers should take care when purchasing items to make sure prices have not been elevated abnormally. The current wave of capital injection have lifted the total CS2 skins market cap back up to $4.9 billion, which is only 3.6% off the peak. Moving on, the Steam community market has been updated with a new user interface. The UI is currently in beta, but many have dubbed it to be quite an improvement given the easier to navigate menu. The best function from the community reactions appear to be the ability to dictate minimum and maximum price range when searching for an item. However, there has also been a drawback as pointed out by some, and that is the ability to search for a specific player has been absent under this new UI. Next, I want to touch on the Saudi-backed Esports World Cup. Whilst there is plenty to talk about regarding the unethical nature of the nation, that is not what I will be focusing on. I just want to touch on the nature of the tournament. Fake fan noises from the audience were filling the stream. These apparent fans were also cheering out unnatural times and supposedly giving away information to Falcons, a team that is affiliated with the Saudi-backed tournament hosts. The entire tournament structure was also very unfair. A total of 25 events counted towards the total score, weighed equally. Falcons participated in 22. No other teams came close, with Virtus Pro making 17 and Twisted Minds making 14. Second place Liquid Gaming won 3 events, whilst Falcon only winning Overwatch 2. We shift to HLTV's Rating 3.0 system released this week. HLTV ratings are typically used as the Northern Star in guiding player performance, so it is quite important. The new system aims to better reflect how a player makes impact throughout the game. The system adds a new metric called round swing. It measures a player's impact on each round's win probability. For example, an elimination when the team is 5v1 will count for a lot less than when the team is 5v5. B-Trams has discovered that for the top 2 teams in Spirit and Vitality, any single player performance has a smaller bearing to the overall outcome. This result contrasted with the outcome of the Ratings 2.1 system, which showed Spirit's over-reliance on Donk. Lastly for the week, Valve's MOBA shooter Deadlock received a major patch this week with 6 new heroes and significant gameplay changes. The reason why I wanted to touch on this is that this is probably what Valve's focus has been for the past few weeks if not months. The update did trigger a player resurgence to the game, which is quite good for a game still in beta. Hopefully Valve shifts some of the resources to Counter-Strike going forward. Finally, let's move on to our weekly craft idea. The Choose Wisely sticker combines very well with poorly drawn figures behind it. The craft on screen uses the berries and cherry skin, which is quite costly. However, the craft can be applied to any blank surface with the total cost amounting to just over $1. Switching gears to market analysis. The Skinomics2 index, which contains a list of items I used to represent the market, increased by 1.44% this week. The pump of specific items have not translated to everything in the market. The Esport Fire Index, which contains a list of 300 high-value liquid items, also showcases this, as the higher-end items were not subjected to rapid cash injections. Moving on to buff value of trade and trade volume data sourced from the cheap instant skin trading site itrade.gg. We are seeing slowly climbing market activity, which is an encouraging sign. A similar picture is mirrored with the total value and volume data sourced from SteamDT. Number of trades have bottomed out 2 weeks ago, and confidence is slowly climbing its way back in. Now, let's break the skin market movements this week down into categories. Starting off with knives and gloves. Again, these have not done too well this week amidst the pumps of specific items. Higher tiered weapon skins did better. The M4 Emperor increased by 4.5% in particular. Agents also did well. Agent's Rixor was part of the list to rise this week, by a substantial 13%. Of note, Agent Ciphers, which is not part of the index, rose by over 400% this week. Last but not least, in the affordable weapon segment, we have seen a general increase which is healthy for the market. Moving on, according to CS2 case tracker, case unboxing numbers remain low at about 7 million in the week. Player numbers also remain relatively low, particularly impacted by the renewed interest in Deadlock. Non-active case prices were very bipolar in the week. The original weapon case dropped by 8.88%, whilst the Chroma 2 case rose by 8.6%. Overall, most cases were relatively stable in the week. Active cases fared slightly worse. The Kilowatt case endured a drop of 13.8%, putting its price more in line with the other active cases apart from the Dreams and Nightmare, which remains expensive. Let's now take a glimpse at this week's biggest winners and losers. In winners, as we have spoken about in the headlines, the M4 Buzzkill did well. Apart from that, the M4A1 control panel also soared considerably. It comes from the current nuke collection. The losers all came from the Austin Major. This is to be expected, as this is the first week after the capsule started 75% off discount. Prices will stabilize after a few more weeks. Onto the top trades of the week, also sourced from the skin trading site itrade.gg. Buff's top trade came from a Butterfly Sapphire with almost no black spots, going for $20,000. Second place was a Wild Lotus with 4 Cato 14 Dignitas papers, whereas the third place was a usual Butterfly Emerald. On CS Float, the top trade this week emerged from the number 2 float Karambit Emerald. Second place comes from the 9th place float Gunyear, and third place was also a usual Butterfly Emerald. Moving into game news, there was one update this week on the 19th. The update mostly implemented small bug fixes, including to the revamped Ancient map. Now onto the pro scene. Mongolz took home the CS2 portion of the Esports World Cup, besting Vitality in the semi-finals and Aurora in the finals. They are now ranked 3rd in the Valve Global rankings behind Spirit and Vitality. The upcoming Tier 1.5 tournament, Fisher Playground, has its attendees decided. Falcons and Mongolz will be the top teams participating in this tournament. Mesa Master Falls had its VRS status stripped after running into some rule conflicts. Valve is coming down hard on their set rules, which is a double-edged sword. BC Game lost their first tournament with Simple, losing to BB. They are very unlikely to make the major later this year. Moving on, in transfers, Complexity has decided to quit Counter-Strike after 10 years of continued involvement. Its owner cited financial viability as the key reason. The roster has been taken over by Passion UA, which is owned by the Arsenal football player Zinchenko. FaZe benched Elige for a Polish Tier 2 player Jacob from Apogee. I'm sure Elige won't have too much trouble finding a new team, but this is a very surprising roster change. FUT swapped Misuta for Lonks after only 2 weeks. Skulls has replaced SHR in Imperial. FlyQuest parted ways with their Mongolian culture Aircast. I am still open to skin donations and a reminder to join my Discord. Please like, share and subscribe. On that bombshell, that was all for this video. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.